Las Vegas Raiders, the Aces, the Knights, and every other sport in Las Vegas. A Lexus, a Mercedes, my first lobster dinner, and probably one of the most influential people in my life to this date. And the reason why all of those connect is because I get a chance to be able to sit down with a young lady that I've known. Actually, I probably known her since she was 2 years old. And the way I came in contact with her is because I met her father. And her father was a mountain of a man. I remember walking into the Mandalay Bay, and I would get greeted by this man that was larger than life every single day. And I told him, I said, you need to come down. We had a salon there at the Mandalay Bay. And I said, you need to come down to the salon. He looked at me. He was like, I ain't trying to come down to no salon. I said, no, I need you to come down to the salon. And I said that to him, and I grabbed a hold of him and pulled him in. And I had no idea that was going to change my life. I had no idea that I was going to sit down with a man that literally single-handedly would show me a completely different side of life. After that, it was about every 14 days I would get to take care of him. And I remember one day walking into the Mandalay Bay after we were friends for a while, and I said, hey, Rick, I would like to have a Mercedes. I'd like to buy a Mercedes, and I know that you've got a connection point there. And he said, you don't need a Mercedes, you need a Lexus. And he takes me back and shows me a Lexus, and I didn't even want one, but he was so convincing that I ended up buying one. It was my first luxury car. Our friendship forged throughout time, and I had my first lobster dinner because of him. I got to go to my first heavyweight fight because of him, and I met this young little girl that he thought the world of. She basically hung the moon for him. Every time that he would bring her around, he would light up. And I've got to see her grow, and I've got to see her go to USD. And then she didn't call me while she was in Nashville, although she knows that I'm a huge Tennessee Titans fan. But she went to Nashville and Colorado and Montana, and she got into the broadcasting side and actually got a chance to be able to come back home to Las Vegas, and now covers the Raiders, the Knights, the Aces, and everything else as far as sports in Las Vegas. And I've been reaching out to her for quite some time, but I know she's been busy. But it's my honor and my pleasure to bring you today one of the most inspiring stories for me, because I've got to see her throughout her whole entire life, and I've got to see her just be such a kind individual. I got to spend time with her dad, and her dad to me was honestly one of the most influential people that I've ever met. And including that, her mom also, which hopefully her mom is watching. The Belcastro family really changed things for me. They opened up a completely different side of life. They helped me to see from a different viewpoint. My mom said to me that, our circumstances in life aren't as important as our perspective, because if we shift our perspective, the vantage point from which we see something, our perception changes, which is the way that we accept things. The Belcastro family helped me to accept life from a different viewpoint. And it helped me to see that things were possible. It helped me to see that, the dreams that I had were absolutely possible. And now I get to sit down with a young lady today that is making her dreams possible, and she's living inside her dreams and living most of other people's dreams, although she didn't help me with my dream of maybe coming to Nashville and seeing her work with the Titans and see those things. So I'm going to give her as hard of a time today, but I'm so proud of this young lady, and I can't wait for you to meet her. So why don't we get this party started?
Yeah. And this the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turn small grooves into launch pad flights. Yeah, this the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turn small rooms into launch pad flights. Grew up on base where the bike tires hum, Crestview dunk ball, rubber band wars young. Trees we climbed stood tall like the dreams we slung. Sun on our backs, whole world on our tongues. Then boom, light flip, tight walls, no space, 5 deep in one room, but we kept our pace. Me and Rob.
Let me bring her in right quick, and here we go. Alexa Belcastro, welcome to the show. There we go.
Kelly, it is so good to be joining you. I feel like I need to call you Uncle Kelly, because you've literally been in my life since I learned how to walk.
Hey, okay, so what year were you born?
98.
Okay, so you were 1 year old when I met you.
So yeah, I don't even remember our first meeting. So that makes sense.
I do, because your mom brought you down, and you were in a little bathing suit, and your pops. I was cutting your pop's hair, and he gave you, I think it was like $2 or $5. It was probably, because it was your dad. It's probably 100. But
Yeah.
he gave it to you, and you put it into your bathing suit at like 2 years old, and you slid it in, and it was just so funny, and the connection point. And I tell you, like most people, when they come on the show, obviously you got the introduction. I mean, congratulations on graduating from USD. It's a tough school. I know it's not beautiful at all or anything like that. Congratulations on Montana, on Colorado, come on, girl, Nashville, girl.
Okay. So I want to make my way back to Nashville. That's actually, I want to live in Nashville again. So we're going to go to all the Titans games, and I'm making that a promise.
Okay, so I want to connect you with my buddy Jay Minensone. Do you know that name?
No.
Okay, so Jay Minensone is, I don't know what channel he's on in Nashville, but he was just on the show. So he's in broadcasting, sports broadcasting. So he covers the Titans and everything like that. So I want to connect the two of you.
Yes, I would love that. You're always the connector. You just bring people together.
Tell me about your experience at USD. My daughter's just about to go to college. Well, she's senior year. And this is the funny thing, Alexa. She does not want to stay in San Diego at all.
I think it's the most beautiful place ever. But there's something about just wanting to get out of the house, and like you think if you're like a state over from your parents, it's further than just, I don't know. I don't know the logic, but I remember feeling that way. So I see where she's coming from.
When did you first start wanting to get into broadcasting? And to tell you, you have the coolest job in the whole entire world.
Oh, thanks.
And I think one of the toughest jobs. Like, but what made you want to get into that?
So at Gorman, actually, here in Vegas, they had BGTV, which is so funny because I see my friends here now and they're like, "Oh, BGTV, like that's where it started." So that was like our high school broadcast network, and it would go on during one of our classes for everyone. I did not do sports though. I did like what's trending, pop culture kind of stuff. Um, I really liked it. And then when I got to USD, I got an internship with Fox Sports San Diego because I was like, that sounds cool. Like, me and my dad really connected over sports. So he was fired up. He was like, yeah. And then, yeah, I just kind of followed it from there. As I'm sure we'll get into it, but he passed away. And then that kind of gave me some more fuel to be like, I'm chasing this all the way.
Yeah. So when you say that, like, you and I have that in common. My pops passed, I think it was coming up on 5 years that he did. I don't know if I ever told you this. Maybe I texted to you, but the last time I got to see your pop, he came into the salon, and we had always, I mean, he was always, his thing to me was there's no magic beans. And I don't know if he ever said that to you, but I'm sure he did.
Yes.
So
Mm-hmm.
he would always say, there's no magic beans. There's no silver bullet, Kelly. There is time and there's hard work. And everybody is looking for the magic beans. And I remember he repeated that to me that day when he came into the salon. And for the first time, we had been friends for, I'm getting goosebumps when I say it. We had been friends for, this was, what year did he pass away? Do you remember?
I was a sophomore in college, so that would have been like 2017.
Okay, 2017. So him and I had been friends for 18 years. This is the first time that he had ever done it. He gets done. I take care of him. He goes up to the front, and he was always so complimentary, as you know. Like, he always pump you up, like bigger than life, like a mountain of a man. And then he comes back. He would always dap me up and maybe give me a bro hug or whatever. But he dapped me up, hugged me, and he kissed me on the head for the first time. And what was wild is when I heard, and again, I'm getting Uh, he did that, and after I understood it, um, you know, it was like he was saying I'm good and I'm goodbye. Like that was that. And but I just want you to know, I mean, he's always with both of us, and he's with you more because he liked you more than he liked me. So I just want to let you know.
I don't know about that. I think you were right there with me, Kelly. I don't know.
Hey, you want to hear something funny? Your mom's going to die when she hears this one because I don't think that she's heard this one. So your dad would call me when he would go to buy a car, and he would say, Kelly, I need you to agree to buy this car because Jen won't let me buy it unless it has a buyer, right? So he calls me, and it's in the middle. I had just bought a car from him because I bought you guys this black Lexus. It was a Lexus LA or GS 300, and he calls me probably about 8 months later, and he's like, Kelly, I'm just about to buy this Mercedes S430, but I need you to agree to buy it. And I was like, Rick, I'm not in the mood to buy a car. And he's like, well, I can't buy it.
Today's not the day.
Yeah, and then he's like, but I can't buy it because, my wife won't let me buy it unless I have a buyer for it. And I said, well, this doesn't make any sense, but yes, okay, I'll buy it. He's like, cool. So he gets it. He puts new rims. He even put new seat belts. You know how your dad was. Like there were stains on the seat belts, so he had new seat belts put in, did all this stuff. And he knew he was going to sell it to me. So I go over to your house. This is the funniest scenario with my dad. I go over with my pop. We walk in, and right as I walk in, he throws me something. Well, when someone throws something at you, you just catch it. Well, I catch it, and it's $20,000 in cash. And I don't know, Alexa, until that point in my life, I had never caught $20,000 in cash. And it was rolled. It was in a roll. And I catch it. And right as I catch it, I look and I'm like, damn, that's a lot of money. And I get kind of happy. And then as soon as I catch it, he just snatches it right back out of my hand. And when he snatches it, he's like, I told Jen that I was selling you the car for $20,000 more. Therefore, you just gave me $20,000. So we're good. That is
the most Rick thing ever.
That's how your dad took care of me. Like he took care of me at the highest level all the time. How was it growing up with Pop?
I just love hearing these stories about him because, I mean, even when you ask me like what year he passed away, there's some moments, it's a hard time, as you know, when your dad dies. So I almost just like block out that period of time, and that's something I'm still working through. But he really was just bigger than life. Like I have this crazy mindset where like nothing is too big to go after, and I'll talk to friends and things thinking like, everyone thinks that way. And I think I just grew up with like a really special man who he never made me feel like anything was too big to go after. And so he just instilled this mindset in me since I was young. And, with my dad, it wasn't really through his words necessarily. It's like, through the love that he gave you. It was just like this unconditional, like it was his vibe. Being around him was just infectious, and he made you feel like there was nothing in this world that you couldn't go reach. So yeah, I'm super lucky I had him.
Well, I was blown away because I had motivational experiences, not just someone saying something, but I had like a Tony Robbins experience every day as I was walking in to the Mandalay Bay and walking past your dad. And it was like, just a couple of seconds. And it's interesting that you say that he let you know, like he almost, for me, he took the brakes off. Like and he was just like, well, if you want it, well, and you're willing to go do the work, then it's possible. And he wasn't like with you, he wasn't ever saying that to me, but he was telling me the stories about the things that he was doing. I remember when he was going to, whether it was houses or cars or different scenarios. And your mom too. I don't know if I don't think you know this story, but I hadn't met your mom, and I wanted to take my brother to a nice dinner, right? And I had never had lobster before, right? So I moved to Las Vegas, never had lobster. And your mom is working for the MGM, so she gets me if you're from Vegas, you know what I'm talking about, but if you don't, we'll explain it. She gives me a comp to go to the Brown Derby, right? And so I take my brother, and I'm acting like I'm a baller, Alexa. Like I'm like, Rob, I got you. You know what I mean? Like, but I got no money at all. I'm struggling, but I'm going to this nice old dinner. So I take my bro. We get there. Well, your mom said, don't worry about anything. Everything's taken care of. I said, cool. We sit down. I didn't know the Jen Belcastro level of taken care of. So the waiter says to us, he lets us know what the comp is. And I was like, I lost my damn mind. We had never spent that much money on a dinner ever. My brother and I order every damn thing on the menu. We order steak, lobster, escargot. We don't even we don't know what the escargot is, but we order it. We go through. And I sat and I had a talk with my brother. My brother's a killer, like an absolute killer. He's always been an alpha, always been the best at what he did. But he said something that night that concerned me. He told me he just got done with law school, just got his first job with Bob Massey. And he says, hey, man, I got a job. And, I'd be cool if I just made $50,000 a year. And I looked at my brother. Now, at that time, that was still a lot of money. But I looked at my brother, and it was the first time I had ever heard him settle in his life. And as we're there, I started ordering more from the waiter. The reason why, because I wanted to show my brother what was possible, because your parents had showed me what was possible. And then at the end of the dinner, I told my brother, I said, I don't ever want to hear you say something like that again. I want you to understand that anything is possible. And you know what happened that year because of that dinner that your mom provided? My brother surpassed and doubled that 50,000 and has just gone up over time. That's the Belcastro effect.
I love that. I that is a really powerful story, and I feel like, again, like that's just, my dad never looked at people like where you came from or the circumstances you were in. And I think as I go through life more and more, I realize my dad didn't have any jealousy. Like, and that's so rare because you like, when you're pushing people to succeed, sometimes it's hard to like not look the other way and be like, oh, but I want what they have right there. And that was just never him. Like, he genuinely wanted to take people to a nice dinner and like talk about the highest of goals that you could possibly have for yourself.
What about grandma and grandpa? Like, I know does your grandpa spend time out here more or in Vegas? Because I know they were going back and forth at the time.
They still kind of go back and forth. They're kind of more in Vegas now, but he's been in Del Mar all summer because he loves the horses. So
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna have to tell him that story about the dinner though, because you have all the good stories. I just need to sit and talk with you forever.
Well, I'm telling you, like my whole life, when I look at it, even my house, like I was struggling. I went through a divorce. I don't know if you remember that, but I went through a divorce, which I felt like a celebrity because I was only married for a year and 2 months.
I don't even remember that.
So and do me the favor, don't get engaged after 6 months and or 6 weeks and don't get married after 6 months of meeting someone too. So that's my thing for you.
Okay, that's good. I'll remember that.
But I remember I was going to get, everything has a Belcastro effect. Like I was going to get my pool done because I had got divorced and I had to, scramble financially to be able to pay for the divorce. And then, so I had, I had refinanced my house. And then I was like, I need a pool. Well, there was a guy who only did a few pools a year, and they were a Belcastro level of pool. And your dad just made a call, and that guy shows up at my house, and he's like, you don't have to worry about anything. Just show me the picture, and then we're done. And I show him the picture out of like Architectural Digest, and the dude makes it in my backyard, and I didn't even have to do anything. It's because your dad, like, you know what I'm saying? So, and it was wild. I got to go because of your mom. My dad and I got to surprise him and take him to the Mayweather. I can't remember the guy's name. Mayweather when the guy head butted him, and then Mayweather knocked him out because his hands were down. I can't remember who it was, but my dad was a huge boxing fan, so this was a monumental moment for me and my pop, and a lifelong memory, and it was provided by your mom, like every single thing. So take me to this because I love the jealousy part of, I don't love jealousy, but I love the jealousy part of what you talked about because in the industry you're in, jealousy is at an all-time high. Am I correct?
Oh yeah. My favorite quote that I heard from the Commanders head coach Dan Quinn, I mean, he's gotten it from other places, but when we were sitting down, he told me comparison is the thief of joy, and that is something that I have just kept, like, it's my favorite quote now because I think my industry and your any industry really, like, it's so easy to not be where your feet are and like look at someone else and be like, but that's and it's hard, right? Because like it's like you want to have a fire inside of you to strive for something bigger, but at the same time, you shouldn't be comparing yourself to everyone else around you. And I see so much of it all the time, and it creeps in sometimes. Like I'm not perfect with that mindset, but like I just think the people I had around me were so influential in that. And my dad, like he was so weird with that mindset. I swear he like never. I don't know if he ever got jealous. Like it was amazing.
Well, I remember taking him out back. As I grew, like he was always so happy for different things, and I remember taking him out back. I had just got a new car, so I just got the Audi A8, and we were car people back and forth because he got me into cars, even without me
Dangerous.
knowing I was getting into cars with him. But I remember taking him out and showing him I got a different Mercedes at the time, and I take him out and I show him that. I didn't realize that he like that that part was a character part when you're saying that he just celebrated, but he was so happy for me. He wasn't like, oh my, because there's so many people that get a little almost standoffish and they try and peacock up and talk about what they've done and things like that. You know what I mean? So, going into your industry, right? With a mindset of like anything's possible. And I love this from your side. Was there still pinch me moments when you went into, I mean, which one did you start in, Montana or Colorado?
Montana.
Okay.
So I graduated and went to Montana. Yeah.
Okay. Was there pinch me moments in Montana?
Oh, definitely. I think that was the first time I saw myself on TV. So I will never forget it. Like I was sitting on my couch, I got some snacks, and I was like, oh my gosh. Like to me in that moment, I felt like I did it. And I think that's a memory that I need to remind myself a lot of because now as I keep doing more things, it's like it's just this hunger of wanting more and more and more, but like it's such a balance. And you listen to like Tom Brady or Kobe, like they've gone through so many moments like that where it's like they want to be the best they can possibly be, they're always striving, but then how do you also be where your feet are? um I think I left Montana, I went to Colorado Springs, and my second week there, they're like, "Oh yeah, we're sending you the Stanley Cup final for the Abs." And I was like,
What?
I was just covering high school football in Montana. Like, I don't know what I'm doing here. But that's like another thing I had to learn. Like, you just have to tell yourself you do know what you're doing here. You just kind of gotta like pretend to own the room. My mentor says Michael Jordan the room, so it's just shoulders back, head up, and own it.
How hard was it for you to get the teleprompter? Do you have to use a teleprompter a lot, or was that something? I mean, are you having to read your notes and then go off the notes, or the teleprompter happen?
So when I anchor, I use a teleprompter when I'm in studio, but when I'm in the field, it's off my notes. But my first time anchoring was in Colorado Springs, and I wish I saved the show because Kelly, it was a disaster. I will never forget it. I was shaking. I was like, "Oh my goodness." I should have saved it just because then it wasn't funny. I'm like crying after the show, like, "Oh my God, I can never do this." And then I go back out there and do the 10 o'clock show. But oh yeah, it was a disaster. I think I called like a slap shot, like a flip shot, because I was just like so in my head and all over the place. It was a disaster. Oh, Jokic. I don't even know what I called Jokic at that time, but it was not Jokic. It was something else. Something else came out of the mouth. I'm not sure what.
Is it hard to own? Because this is the thing that I found. Like, say for instance, I I was going to have a hip hop legend. He's going to be on, I believe, next week. Um, but as I was reading kind of his intro and his bio and stuff like that, like for me, I have to read it and then I have to say it to one of my friends in regular conversation. And that's almost my workshop. And then I can own the information. What's your process in the anchoring side? Because this is so fascinating. Because when we watch TV, like we think, oh wow, this stuff just comes naturally. Oh wow, she just says everything without a and a ah and all the things. But what's your process?
Well, it definitely does not come naturally because Colorado Springs was an example of that. But um I'm still like there's still notes that I tell myself to this day, but I try to think in bullet points. So if I'm writing out a script for myself, instead of being so attached to the sentences that are there, I'm like, okay, what am I talking about? Um, like I'm talking about Mendoza having a big game. He threw an incompletion. How did he bounce back? Okay, like those are my three notes. And then it just like kind of helps me be more conversational. Because I think I used to be so hooked to the words that
Mhm.
when I was reading the prompter, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to like nail it exactly as it's written. And then I was like, wait, it's more conversational when I just kind of flow with the bullet points, if that makes sense.
Yeah. How was the transition back to Las Vegas? Because most of the time, if someone grows up in a spot, they have a thought of wanting to get back there, but actually getting back there doesn't become their reality.
Yeah, well, like so many emotions went into that for me because I probably didn't process my dad's passing completely. Like I just kind of threw myself into work and was like, okay, I'm just gonna like stay as busy as possible. So I never really like took a second and let myself like really grieve. So this was the first time being back in Vegas without him being here. And
Really?
it almost felt like I was like starting the process all over again, which is so weird about grief because it can hit you at the weirdest times or a different time. It's like 6 years later now, 5 years later. So um yeah, it was hard at first, really hard, but at the same time, like I'm like, wow, like this is everything he would have wanted for me. And I'm back home where I like grew up. Like I'm like third generation Las Vegas, so it's like pretty surreal in that way.
So, how about this was a dream for us, for your dad and I. We used to always talk about, major league sports in Las Vegas. In '99, when I came, it wasn't even a thought. Like people were like, it'll never happen because they were saying because of the gambling. Now, ESPN has their own gambling that you could do. But
Yeah.
when you cover the Raiders, right? I mean, the city has wrapped. I've never seen a city wrap around sports the way that Las Vegas wrapped around. At first, it was the Knights, then it was then it was the Raiders, and then the Aces. I mean, what do you think about as far as the community? Why do you think that they wrapped around them so quickly?
I think this is a community that's just been like waiting, like so hungry for sports teams. I mean, my dad was a diehard Dallas fan. I get roasted by Raider fans all the time because I have like all of this Dallas stuff in here, and they're responding like, "What is that?" And I'm like, so I hope they watch this and now they can get the background of why I have all this Dallas stuff. Um, but everyone just had to kind of cling on to a team because we didn't have anything. And I just think it's a community that is super, I mean, the youth sports here have always been top notch. It's a sports community. We're watching the Little League right now. I mean, it's always been a baseball town for kids. So to see them now get a team at the professional level, it's been so much fun to watch because locals have been waiting for this, and now it's the sports capital of the world.
What about the Mendoza and Cousins? I mean, I think for a quarterback fan, everyone loves Cousins. Cousins is a amazing guy. We know he's the stopgap though, and we know
Right.
that Mendoza is ultimately going to be the man. Do you see it as if they lose a couple of games early on, then the fans are going to start calling for Mendoza, which I don't think is the smartest thing. What's your take on it?
I agree. I'm all behind the sitting the rookie as much as you can. And when you have a guy like Tom Brady who's influencing this decision, I would listen to whatever he says. um, I think he knows the recipe. And like, why would you want a rookie's confidence to go get knocked right off the bat? Because I mean, you're gonna make mistakes. That's just how it is. Um, and you're just hoping to not have them be as catastrophic, and also have him be able to make a mistake and then be like, okay, that was a mistake, how do I fix that on this next drive? So I think it's just going to help his processing. Like, I hope he's able to sit as long as he can. um he is a super good guy. He is exactly how he comes off. So super authentic, and Kirk's great as well.
Well, Mendoza, it was crazy. We were on the way to my buddy and I were going to Florida. We were going to speak at a conference there, and I'm walking, and my buddy's went to Indiana University, right, or University of Indiana,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's a Hoosier. So we're walking through the airport, and I see this dude who's way taller than everyone else, and he's got a hood on, and I look, and I was like, "Hey, that's your boy, Mendoza," and my buddy just loses his mind, and now, I'm a fan. I think he's cool, but I ain't trying. Like, you know what I'm talking about. Like, these guys, when you're around them, and we'll talk about that, they like to be treated like human beings, not like a specimen at a museum, right? And the
Right.
moment that you start fanboying or fangirling, it's the moment that they bolt. But
Yep.
um, I knew it was important to my friend, so I just walked over and I was like, "Hey, Fernando, my buddy's a Hoosier, huge fan. Um,
So
is there any way
cool.
that you could just say hello to him?" And he was, I mean, he just stopped and he was like, "Let's go over here," because he didn't want to cause the fanfare. Went over and he was like, "Hey, can I take a picture with you?" And whatever it was, I didn't want to take a picture with him because he made me look like a midget. Like that
He is
dude,
very tall.
that dude is huge.
I know. It's kind of misconceiving, I feel like, because when you see him in person, you're like, wow, you are very big. And Kirk is very small.
Is he?
So he is. And I didn't know that because I've never seen him like live on a field. So it's funny watching them work together. But I saw that on Instagram and I was like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. And I feel like that's just who he is. Like, I have a friend who also her brother graduated from IU, and she goes, my brother quite literally told me that Indiana winning the state championship or the national championship past high school was the greatest day of his life, better than when he will get married or have a child. And would you please get him to sign this jersey? I was like, unfortunately, I could not ask him to do that. But I'm sure he would. And like, I was like, asked my brother, I was like, hey, could you go to practice and maybe like hold this Mendoza jersey? Because he signs for fans forever. It's
Yeah.
insane. And yeah, I haven't gotten the job done for her. So if she
How
listens, I'm
how'd you
sorry.
deal with that side? Because this was a thing that your pops taught me very early on, and I incorporated it in our business, but it was very unpopular at the time because when we got to Vegas, everyone was like, it was all like if they met someone, all they were looking for was the angle of what they did, and then they all wanted and I'm going to do this air quotes, hookup, right? I got to
Yeah.
get the hookup. If you worked at a
Yeah.
restaurant, they're like, oh, he's going to hook me up with this. Your dad taught me that if you just contribute to people, then the people will ask you if they can do something for you, but be very conscious because you don't want to be that guy. And so, say with your mom or with your dad, like I had every ticket to every event. And when I say every ticket to every event, because of your dad. Like I went to every UFC. I mean, I remember, okay, this is crazy. You know who Tony Alamo, you know who Tony Alamo is, right?
Right.
Okay. So Tony Alamo is a legend in Las Vegas, and he was at the time, I think he was the director of operations for all of Mandalay Corporations. Your dad gets me tickets to the UFC. My tickets are in front of him, in front of the guy who runs the whole, and I'm sitting out, and my brother's like, oh, let's cheer loud. And I was like, dude, sit down. I don't want Tony to see that I'm in front. Because, it's a pissing contest at times. But this was because with your pop, I never, like he taught me that early on, and I incorporated it in our business. But how did you learn to deal with that? Because when you're around these people, this is your job, this is your career. But I'm sure that you have people that are like, oh man, can you get me to meet? When you talk about Tom Brady, you talk about him like he's your uncle. Most people, right? Most people don't have any access. But if you break that bond as far as the access, that can go very wrong for you. Am I correct?
Yeah. No, you're right. And I mean, I think you're such an example of that with my dad. Like you just built a genuine relationship with him. And I think that's what I've learned. Like when you build genuine relationships with people, they'll give you the world, not because you're even asking for it, just because like it's just organic. And I think my grandpa as well, like they were bringing such big people around me at a young age, like CEOs of hotels and things. And if I was ever, I will never forget this actually. My mom took me to a hotel room and it was like a surprise, and it was Zac Efron in the room, like was there with her client. And I'm not kidding, like I was not allowed to act like a fangirl growing up for 2 seconds. Like my grandpa especially was like, you act like they are normal people. And now I genuinely like, they have a gift, and I think everyone has a gift. They have a gift that everyone watches. But I mean, when you think about it, like they grew up like us, they went through things like us. Like I and that has to be so hard, because when people look at you in such a different way all the time, I'm sure it's frustrating just being like, hey, I had a bad game last game. It's like a bad day at work. Like, I had a bad day at work. I'm not in the mood right now, you know?
Now, how is it for you, like when you see, okay, so the Knights set the standard as far as professional sports in Las Vegas. That first year went to the Stanley Cup Finals. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. Second
Their
year.
first, no,
Was that
it was the second year.
second year they
Their
went to the
second.
finals? They went
Yeah.
deep. They went deep in the playoffs the first year, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Okay. And then second year they go to the finals. Did they win it in their second year, or was it the fourth year that they won it?
It was the year before I got here. I think it was like their third year they won it.
That's a tough
Knight
standard.
fans are gonna come after us, so we have to.
Yeah. Well, they can fact check me. It's my fault, everyone. It's my fault.
I should know.
Alexa is perfect. But okay, the reason I'm saying it is because that sets a high ass standard. It's like with your mom. Your mom would send me. This would always suck. Your mom would send me to
2023.
It was 2023. Okay.
Yeah, so we got.
So that's the fact check that everyone can do. So your mom would kill experiences for me. The reason why is because your mom and dad. So I remember going to, let's see, Chuck Liddell and Rampage Jackson. It was a heavyweight UFC, and this was when that rivalry was hot. And our seats were so ridiculous. It was tough though, because once you experience that, you can't experience like the top level. You can't experience the nosebleeds. You can't go back. Like you just can't. I remember my friends calling me and saying, "Oh, do you want to go to the fight? I got tickets." And I was such a jerk. I was like, "Where are they at?" Because I had the Belcastro experience. So when sports came into Vegas, we had this experience of like, "Oh wow, we're all going to the finals." Like immediately. Do you find that the fans have that pressure like on the teams, and especially, I mean, that's been tough with the Raiders.
Well, the Knights get that especially because making three Stanley Cup appearances in 5 years is insane.
Yeah.
And so when you have this constant standard of or winning culture, um, I think I mean, they haven't got to experience literally one losing season. There was only one season they didn't make the playoffs. So it's like, I don't know what's going to happen to Knight fans. We'll find out. I like to believe they're very ride or die here. But yeah, there's definitely a winning culture in Vegas. Raiders are changing things around. Um, and the A's are coming soon. So I think, are you an A's fan?
That's amazing. I'm so happy. I wasn't an A's fan, but I'm so happy that they're coming because it's going to complete the trifecta. But here's the question: is when does the NBA come to Las Vegas?
I know. Well, it sounds like it's coming within 2 years. So, um, I honestly, they might be here at the same time as the A, so it's going to be crazy. And I think NBA is going to take off here. I mean, the Aces games are crazy. There is die-hard Aces fans here.
Really?
So, and it's going to be wild. Yeah.
Alexa, why did they let go of Kelsey Plum? Kelsey Plum is one of the most electric WNBA players that gets no press. She gets, I mean, and her game is no joke. I can't believe they let her go to LA and then they let her go to Phoenix. Why do you think that
Yeah.
is?
It was kind of time. So that was right before I got here, but what I understand is, she kind of wanted to go in without being like, I'm on the Aces with Asia
Mm,
Wilson. Um, I think the Aces also did this with her, so it was I think she is such a fun player to watch. I'm sad I missed her before I got here, but um I think it was one of those things where like she kind of wanted to go prove it on her own.
okay. What's your favorite Raider to cover? Who is it?
Definitely. I mean, Mendoza's like the obvious answer, but every time that guy's on the podium, like he is so intellectual. Like I hear words that I've never heard before, let alone from a football player. um, so he's very in his head about his answers, but like it's a very would you say like natural, very authentic, so
Uh-huh.
authentic, which I appreciate. Um, so he's definitely my favorite to cover right now, but there's some other guy like Brock Bowers. He is one of the best tight ends in the league, and he acts like just the most normal guy. Just like, oh, I'm gonna put my New Balance sneakers on and walk out of this locker room. Like I didn't just make the craziest one hand catch on the field. Like just very like no fancy outfits or anything. Just very normal guy.
Yeah.
So he's a fun one too.
How was the when Max Crosby, because everyone was like it's a done deal, he's going to the Ravens, and then
Mhm.
he ends up, coming back. How was Vegas just so happy to just have him back, or was it like why would you leave us, or why would you even think about it? How was it?
Max Crosby is another one of my favorites. I can't believe I didn't say that. But
I'll tell him. I'm
Vegas,
telling him.
yeah, don't tell him, okay? Vegas was very excited to have him back. I mean, he's the heart and soul of the Raiders since they were in Oakland. Um, I think even if you were like a real die-hard Max Crosby fan, he's only had one playoff appearance and he's such a special talent that you kind of wanted more for him. But obviously, getting him back, you're welcoming him with open arms, and he makes such a difference on the defensive side of the ball. So yeah, Raider fans were very lucky to have him back. It was kind of a Cinderella story, like the way that all happened, because he said many times, like, I want to end my career as a Raider. I'm a Raider. So hopefully they turn things around.
What do you think about Ashton Genty? I'm a huge fan. I loved him he was at Boise State. Um, and I loved his running style. I was a little concerned because of his size as a running back in the NFL, but he's proved me wrong. What's your take on him for the season?
He's gonna have a great season. The fact that he's getting a much better O line, Tyler Linderbaum, they signed as the highest center in the league. So now that he has some protection around him, he's gonna find space and he's gonna take advantage of it. Um, I was at the practice where he fell, and people were like, "Is it his ACL? What's happening?" Um, the impact that he has on that team was so evident. Everyone took a knee and started praying. And it turns out to be a twisted ankle. So, I mean, we kind of got some slack for that as a media as a whole, being like, we thought this was this like huge deal, but in our defense, the whole team was on a knee praying. We're like, oh no, like I didn't speculate, but it just was a heavy moment. So that moment shows you the impact that he has on the team.
How has the challenge been? I mean, I guess it's an advantage and a challenge in media today because media happens so quickly, right? So it's not like for me growing up, it would be like something happened on the field, and then they wrote it, they processed it, and maybe you get it the next day. Nowadays, it's literally instant. It comes out on Twitter, then it comes out on social, then it comes out, and then you're hitting it's that night on the news. Is there a good and a bad side to that? Because sometimes, like you were talking about, you can maybe report on something that wasn't the actual thing, and then you have to retract it. How do you deal with that?
I think it's really hard because, like we talked about, I value relationships so much. Like, that will always be first to me over breaking news. But sometimes that's not, I don't want to, it's valued definitely, but you're not going to be the first to things. Like, there was people in that room who were like sending out push notifications as we're sitting there, and the team's like, "Hey, can we like hold up a second?" And I just like, I never want to be that person that's like first to a story. I rather build genuine relationships. But that's hard when you get your ESPN notification in like 2 seconds and they're like, well, Alexa didn't put that in her sportscast. Why not? It's like, well, I want to wait till I get the full information. Like, I value my relationship with the team. So it's definitely a balancing act.
So your pops always taught me that it was God, family, and then everything else. When you're dealing in media, is it the team? Is it the audience first? Is it the station first? What goes first, and in what order do you put it in?
I I should say station. So let's make that clear.
Yeah, we love you. We love you more than
They-
anything. It's and station. You could say the station identification. You could say it.
Yeah, Channel 3, KSNV. It's the NBC here in
There we
Las
go.
Vegas.
Yes, and we love that more
It,
than anything in the world. That
we
is like
love it.
we love it.
We
Love,
love it, and they
love.
are the center. They pay my bills. They write my check. However, I personally, I always go team and player because, again, I always circle back to these are real people. Um, these are relationships that, I mean, if you burn that bridge early, and that's something that I had to kind of like watch, if you burn that bridge early, they're not giving you a one on one interview. They're like, yeah, no, he's actually busy for like a month. Because, I mean, you kind of hurt them. So why are they going to give you that access again? At the same time, I have to do my job and I'm there to do my job. So, how I kind of explain it if I do get in a situation between my station and the team is, hey, like longevity, if you want to continue getting interviews and get this access, I would prioritize this decision right now over being the first to break this story. But yeah, it's hard.
In your position, how do you know when to ask the tough question, right? That sometimes will put the person in a, I mean, you love them, you have a relationship, but you also have a responsibility in the reporting side where
Yeah.
you don't just want to gas people up and that's all it is. When do you know?
I think it's just the way that I frame my questions. And my mentor, Laura Oakman, she did NFL sideline for forever for Fox Sports. She was one of the longest to do it. And she just really instilled in me it's how you ask it, like approaching it with compassion and like thinking if you were in their shoes. So, like after Mendoza threw that interception in the preseason game, obviously you have to ask about the interception, but it's like framing it like, well, what did you take away from that moment? Like that was your first, one of your first NFL games. You threw an interception. What are you taking away to build off that moving forward? Instead of being like, yeah, like that looked bad out there. Like, what do you think about that? And there's guys in the room who will ask you like that, and I just cringe in my seat. um, so yeah, I try to not be that person.
When you saw that play, did you question him diving after the defensive back? Because that could have ended his season. Like you saw his shoulder go, like when he dove.
Yeah.
I mean, did that from a reporter side and from an anchor side, are you looking at those kind of things too and saying like, oh my God, that was a dumb, I mean, when I say a dumb, I mean, it's easy for me to say that, but.
No, for sure. Like you're gonna get a talking to after this game, not for that interception, but putting your body on the line in a preseason game. You don't want to see that for sure. And I think also I looked at that interception as what a great time to do that because you're gonna throw an interception, and are you gonna throw a ball over the middle again when that running back in that instance? I think he overran that route a little bit. But are you going to choose that, or are you going to, take off on your feet yourself? He'll probably think about that twice next time. So it's like, I take it as a great learning moment at the right time.
How much do you love I saw one of your stories that you did like a 7-year-old golfer, and I was blown by this little kid. And I want to compliment you because getting a 7-year-old kid to say something in the first place is tough. Plus a kid that's as focused as he is, you made that so interesting. How did you learn that part? Were they teaching you those kind of things in school, or was that something that was ingrained from mom and pop?
I think that was ingrained for me. I think I do this because I am a storyteller and I have compassion for people. It's honestly like the reporting side that I had to push myself more. But like why I do this is just because I love hearing people's stories. I love hearing what they overcame. Um, and it all comes from a genuine place of me wanting to know those things. And I think like even when I was young, my dad would just take me to dinners with like grown adults, and I'm the only kid at the table acting like an adult. And I just think that maybe that curiosity started at a young age.
What do you think Pop would be the most excited about in Vegas with these pro sports, right? Because, I mean, again, him and we would talk about it. We would be like, he was always talking about the Cowboys. I never wanted to hear about that because I'm a Houston Oilers fan. I feel there's only one team in Texas, and it's not the Texans, and it's not the Dallas Cowboys either. But we would go back and forth. We would give each other hard times and all the stuff. And but that was a dream for us. What do you think he would have? Do you think he would have had season tickets to which one? Which one he would have had them to all of them? But which one would he have prioritized?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he would have went Raiders first because he was diehard football.
Yeah,
he was like he would have been ecstatic that they are here. He really wanted to see the Cowboys go to the Super Bowl, so don't worry, Dad, you haven't missed anything.
Now, can you enjoy the games like when you have home games? Because you're there at all the home games. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do you enjoy them, or are you in the mode of I've got to make sure that I have? When I say a hot take, I don't want to
Yeah,
minimize what it is, but
a
are you
story.
are you looking for the story, or are you able to enjoy the game?
I don't. I like enjoy being there, but I am a crazy perfectionist. So the whole game, I'm just thinking, I'm like taking notes, then I'm like crossing things out, like, no, that's not it anymore. And then I'm like producing my show. And, but I just like, I'm thinking how I want everything to look so perfect and be so perfect. So sometimes that takes away from me enjoying things.
What's been the Tom Brady effect on the Raiders?
Oh, massive. I think for starters, getting a rookie quarterback and making sure you're bringing in a veteran that knows Clint Kubiak's scheme for starters. Like he's worked in the Kubiak system. So that's huge. And when you're looking at a playbook from college to the NFL, I'm sure it's a foreign language at first. So having a veteran who's been in this offense, yeah, it's evolved a little bit, but is huge. And that was all Tom Brady. Um, Revamping the O line, paying a center as the highest paid center in the league. That was so important because they took a running back last season who had no protection whatsoever last year. Um, how he walked out of that season alive is just like it's incredible. He didn't have much to protect him. So I just think he sees pieces and he's like, that's what we're investing in. So I think it makes such a difference in the culture as a Raider, and I think moving forward, we're gonna see some strides.
So I think this is kind of cool because when I met you at probably 1 years old, and then I saw you at 2 years old, where you put let's call it $100 bill in your bathing suit when you came in, and you acted like a little diva. Um, Never would I have thought that I was going to make a comparison between you and Tom Brady, but you and Tom Brady started your media career around the same time. So,
Yeah.
what grade would you give Tom Brady in his media side?
Wow, I really appreciate the comparison to Tom Brady. That
You didn't know that was coming. You had no idea. Like this is the first. This is the hot take right now. Alexa Belcastro versus Tom
make
Brady.
that a
Right?
headline.
Boom.
I don't think I'd be able to walk up to Tom Brady and tell him that we're the same, but
well. Okay. So when did he start his media career though? He started it.
yeah, because he was signed with Fox he's going on his third season.
Okay.
Um so yeah, we're relative. I think
You
he's
have,
gotten a lot.
but you have a little bit more experience than him then.
I like that.
Yeah, so you could be a mentor. You could
Yeah.
mentor. Just imagine Alexa Belcastro mentors Tom Brady, right? You know,
I'll,
what would you
I'll,
say?
I'll
What would you
resign
say
that
though?
later.
Because obviously Romo had his challenges in this off season, right? So you saw the video of that. That was you don't want to kick
Uh,
him. You don't want to kick a
yeah.
person while he's down, but he's a Dallas Cowboy, so we could give him some
Ah,
challenges.
Dad wouldn't be
Um,
happy about that one.
no, Pop wouldn't have been. You know,
No.
the real Rocky accent would have come out at that time. Like, you know.
What was he thinking?
Yeah, Big Papa would have come all in on that one. But when I remember when Romo moved into media, it was a pretty natural kind of flow. But here's the thing, this is my take. Romo wasn't that good. I mean, he was a good quarterback, but he wasn't Tom Brady good.
Right.
Do you think that really elite athletes have challenges transitioning into anything else?
I think just the simple fact of leaving the game is so hard. Like, I can't imagine doing what I'm doing right now. Like, I can't imagine walking away, just being like, from what I'm doing right now. And when, like, it takes up 90% of my mental capacity most days, which healthy or like unhealthy, probably is unhealthy. But like to be the best, it consumes you, and to walk away from something and find a new identity, I think is just difficult for anyone at that level. Luckily, they're still kind of around the game at least. So I think that part helps. Um, but I also think it's tough because, especially when you're playing for Belichick, I mean, you're told the media is just the worst. Like, stay away from them. And I kind of enjoy watching them get like a sense of reality. Like, oh yeah, you need that interview right now, don't you? And I mean, no one's gonna say no to Tom Brady, so he doesn't quite go through what I go through. But just like them being like, wow, like, all right, I see how it is. Like, we're working on a time clock. Things need to get done. The show is on right now. They're throwing down to you in 2 minutes. Do you have your interview ready? Are you prepared? Like, the preparation is everything. So I think we saw Tom Brady kind of like go through that his first season. It was, sorry, Tom, but it was a little rough on the mic. But now he's so great.
Yeah.
Now he's the best. So
I think it's
I
tough
think
too because when you are, and he's not even arguably the best quarterback that's ever played. He is the best quarterback that's ever played. How is it for you to, with the, like, say in media, because it seems like today we want to build, our media builds people so fast that they can't not fall. So when, say, Patrick Mahomes, amazing quarterback, phenomenal, incredible, generational guy. But the time when he won his first Super Bowl, everyone was like, oh, he's the next Tom Brady. I was like, pump the brakes. Like, he won one, and this dude's won seven. And then when he won, which he's won three, that's awesome. But it's still three. Seven is still way more than three. How do you,
Yeah.
you know, because you need to do your job, you need to make sure, how do you temper that as you go along to be able to make sure that your personality and your, you know, say like the integrity part stays intact?
I think people that I look up to with that mindset, like Tom Brady, like I don't think he ever went home at night and was like, yeah, like I'm the best and I crushed that. No. I think he literally was like, I mean, yeah, there's a difference between confidence and cocky. Like he knew he was the best quarterback, but he didn't go home and like gas himself up all night. It was like, what did I do wrong? I'm going to go watch tape and watch all the things that I did wrong, and how can I get better at that? And I think I just always want to stay true to myself. Like I never want anyone to think that I think that I'm better than them, or that I come off that way. Like I don't think that, and I don't want anyone to ever think that. If anything, I am my own hardest critic at all times, and sometimes that is very challenging.
Is there an interview for you that is the, you know, I think when people are outside of the media, then they have or outside of a profession, let's say, they have just somebody who has the most notoriety. But when you're in a profession, right, you see people maybe in that profession that are the kind of goats to you, but nobody else would know who maybe they don't have as much, you know, they don't, the public maybe doesn't add as much to them. Say for me, I was a big bowler. I loved bowling. And I remember I met a woman named Kelly Kulick, which most people wouldn't know who that is. But Kelly Kulick was the first woman to beat a man in the U.S. Open in the Pro Bowlers Tour. And she beat him by 50 pins and happened to beat him at the Red Rock Casino in Las Vegas. And it was during the playoffs of the NFL. And I called my buddy. See, I learned this from your pop. I called my buddy who I had a relationship with. His name was Joey, and he ran that hotel. I said, I want to meet her. He said, when do you want to meet her? I said, I'll be there in 20 minutes. So I got to go down, pick her up, take her to the salon. I had Kingpin playing on the screen. We got her taken care of. She gave me the ball. I still have it that she beat the guy with.
Wow.
Now, to anyone else, it's like, you met a pro bowler. So what? Is there that? Who's the Kelly Kulick in Alexa's life that you would like to interview or sit down with and spend some time with?
Well, it's funny. They're both Laura. So Laura Oakman was someone I looked up to growing up, and she ended up being my mentor. And then Laura Rutledge right now is someone that I really look up to, and I got to recently do an interview with her. Um, so I met both of them, and it was definitely like Laura Rutledge right now is one of the biggest faces in sports media, her and Erin Andrews. And she just, I mean, she struggles with all the same things. Like, she's her own biggest critic. She it's struggles balancing, relationships with your job. Like, she's going through all of the same things, just at a next level. And it's kind of cool to be like, okay, like, I'm right there, and we are struggling through the same exact things, and she's been doing this, and now she's at the highest level possible, still trying to navigate those things.
So, as a girl dad, I always wanted to create an independent woman who didn't need anybody, but someone could come alongside and run with them, right? So, with my daughter, I want the guy to run with. I don't want her to depend on that part. That's what we want to do. And your dad and I, always talked about this with you growing up, and you weren't in the room, but we were talking about that. But there's a flip side to that, right? So when you raise a very strong and powerful woman, which you know of because you have a mom that's that, sometimes that can be intimidating in relationships. How is that? Like, now you add to that. Now you're in media, your face is everywhere. Everyone in Las Vegas knows you. How is that on the dating scene, or how is that in the relationship side? Because most men don't have the confidence to be able to walk alongside and be okay with that.
First off, kudos to dad. Didn't know he was having those conversations in a room. And I'm just so happy I got to grow up again with both of you who think that way. You didn't think I needed to belong in the kitchen, and I really appreciate that.
You should do a sports cast from a kitchen as just a, there we go. There
Homemaker
we go.
style.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. It is hard because you really have to separate, like, at work I have to be strong. I have to be when I'm in these rooms with men, like, I just need to be not timid, not in my feminine, if you want to say, but in relationships, like, you have to be loving and all of the all of the things, supportive, and no, I don't need to make you dinner, but, like, maybe if you're sick I can get you some medicine. you know like, I need to be nurturing. And it's definitely a struggle because it's like two sides of your brain that you almost have to, like, compartmentalize. And yeah, it's a push and pull. And I like that you say being with someone that supports you, because some men are, I don't know if jealous is the word, but yes, envious, and they're not comfortable in their own masculinity to trying to not make this rude to support some, or to be with someone who is a go-getter, and that can be difficult if you need, a more home style wife. So being with someone who's confident and supports you is really the goal.
Well, I learned it. I was very fortunate because it was the first time in my life where I had, with my wife, Brooklyn, where she was an amplifier. And she's a badass. She's an entrepreneur herself. She's a business owner, the master at her craft, all those things. And she was completely okay. And she celebrated, being in the public eye and, those kind of things. Because when I was in the hair industry, we, educated with Paul Mitchell and was all around the world and things like that. She was supportive in that. And then in this side, although, I mean, obviously we don't have as many eyeballs as you have on you, but in this side, And maybe I should ask you this. I've said media before, being like when people ask me now because I'm in the podcast space. Do you consider podcast space media?
Oh, absolutely. I
Okay.
think it's a new form of media. Yeah.
Okay, good. So being in the media and being around that kind of thing, I have my wife where she's amplifying, right? And she's like completely okay. She wants me to do better. And she's excited. So she's running side by side, and that's what I want to encourage you because, I don't know. Is there a man in your life now?
There is.
There is.
Yeah.
Okay. So, well, I need to run him by Pops. I'm going to have a talk with Pops
I know
later.
he's gonna have to have a sit down interview with you.
Hey.
So
Yeah, we're gonna have to have him in. You know what I mean? Because
he used to play baseball, so maybe.
oh, really?
think
Okay.
he'll-
Is he from Las Vegas or what?
No, he's from Riverside, California.
Riverside. Okay. All right.
So he came from some edge, like my dad. which
Okay.
My dad.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, how do you keep the grit? Because it seems like you have kept that, right? So you've kept that fighter spirit in you, where like your mom and pop, they built themselves. They were self-made, right? Not to say, but you continued that legacy on. Where I see most of the time a second generation person just eating the crops from the seeds that their parents planted, as opposed to going and planting their own. And you're planting your own. How do you continue that on?
I mean, I should even like give my mom credit in this, her being like a working woman. I was able to see that. Um, I just think there is something like instilled in me, and it sounds so cliche of like hard work pays off, but really like that was all I knew. Like I get so antsy sitting at home and doing nothing for a day, and I really need to do more of it. But like my brain's just always going, and I always want to strive for more. Um, I don't know if it's in my DNA or what it is, but the fire just feels very strong to always strive for more. And it's just all I've also seen. Like my grandpa was an entrepreneur, my dad, there's stories my mom tells me and my dad told me, like when they were 17 years old, like knocking on people's doors to sell their palm trees. Like they started all these random businesses. They had like 3 jobs. At one point when they were younger, they bought a house when they were like 20 years old. Um, so that's just all I've seen and all I know for myself.
Yeah. Well, we haven't talked about the Aces much, but that seems to be in the news a ton right now because, well, right now there's only baseball that's happening. Football is just about to happen, which I'm so excited about. Oh,
I know. I do love football season.
Like there's this abyss, right? And so I don't know if I didn't tell you, we got to go to Game 5 of the NBA championship. So we saw the Knicks win. My son and I were there.
That's awesome.
It was so cool. My buddy Edward, I called him because I was speaking at a prison out in Dallas, and I was on my way. So I was like, "Well, you're in Austin. I'll stop through. If the Spurs make it to Game 5, let's go." And so my buddy Edward was like, "All right, cool." So I ended up there. We had 4 tickets. One of the guys dropped out, and he's like, "You need to call your son." But it was 8:00 the night before the finals. So it was 8:00 at night, and the finals the next day at like 5 or 7 o'clock.
Oh my God.
So my son at 14 years old, we put him on a plane and he flies out to Austin by himself, and we pick him up and take him to San Antonio, and we got to see the Knicks. I wanted Wemby to win, you know?
Yeah, I know. But that's a memory you and your son he will never forget that. That is really cool.
Well,
And that's
when
what
I was
sports do.
Oh, it's amazing. That's what I was saying. It's like this time, the WNBA is in the news a lot because some people are going to get mad at me on this, but really right now there's not a whole lot else going on in sports. So it's the whole focus, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think that the Aces are going to make a run again to the championship?
Yeah, I do. They already clinched their playoff spot. But Asia Wilson, she is just a force. She is unstoppable. I mean, she just five-time like she just keeps getting MVP. But it's never enough for her either. And like that's what I just continue to see in these athletes that separate themselves. Like it is just never enough, and that's the mindset they have. But she is an icon here in Vegas now. Like Max Crosby had her on. He like awarded her for his podcast for like a community spotlight or something. But those two own Vegas. Max Crosby and Asia Wilson. They're the faces.
Do you think it'll be Caitlin Clark and Asia Wilson in the finals?
I like it. Fever Aces. Should we put it on the books?
I would say.
I,
Can that happen? I don't know the way that the league is structured. Could that happen? Are they in different divisions? And so
so
can
it technically couldn't happen,
it could. Okay.
but their games are fun to watch when they're against each other.
Could
I
it
really like.
could it be Western Conference Finals for them then?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that would be the final for me. Like watching that
Yeah.
one would be.
Yep.
Who do you think is going to come out of the East?
I honestly don't. I don't know. There's so many. New York's really good. I like the Liberty. I like the Liberty.
Okay.
Yeah, but they have been the center of attention during all of this, especially Caitlin Clark. I feel like she is
Mm.
on. I do feel for her sometimes. I'm gonna be honest. I feel like I don't know if she wants all this media attention that she's getting.
So from your side, from the media side, because from our side, we're like, obviously it's, and this can be a struggle. So again, when I say the media, I'm not saying, you know, I think you're in media, and I'm raising my hand really high for the people just listening. And then I'm saying I'm in the media, but I'm not comparing the two, right? But when I look at it, the struggle for me is hot takes. Like you could do a headline like Alexa Belcastro mentors Tom Brady. And people would click on that and they'd be like, he is out of his damn mind, right? You know what I mean? But most people in Vegas would be like, yeah, he could learn a lot from Alexa Belcastro. But you could get a lot of clicks, views that way. But in my head, it almost is like selling
It's
your soul,
crazy.
right? So how do you deal with that part of it? Because you can have the hot take part of it and blow up and be, like a flame really quick, but then that flame goes out. But then there's the other side where if you keep your integrity, sometimes it's a slower burn. How do you deal with that part of it in the media?
I think Twitter for sports media at least has become this super toxic thing where people want the headline to be clicked on. They want the most like tweet. Um, but it's like at the end of the day, is that headline that is it drives me bonkers. Like especially I've been really like honed in on covering the Raiders, and when I'm sitting in rooms with people and I'm like, that did not happen. Like, why are you writing that? Um, and it drives me crazy because I think it's such a bad look for us as a unit. Like, you're making us all look bad by doing that. And that's how I would imagine like ownership and stuff looks at that. But it's hard because everything is the headline. That's how they get their articles clicked on and how they get the most likes. And it's like at the end of the day, is that gonna move your career forward later on when you need relationships? Like I don't know.
How do you see it? Like if you got to have the ultimate, right? For you, because you're always looking. I love this. You're always not even shooting for the stars. You're always shooting for another universe, and you're gonna get in that other universe. If we were able to say like magic wand, you could have whatever it is that you want. Is that a sit down sports show that has interviews and has commentary? How does it look for you? Is there any comparison, or how would you build it?
So like growing up 30 for 30, like I thought those were awesome because I love telling stories. I love getting to know athletes, like who they are as people, things they've overcome. How you were asking, like, is it in your DNA from what you saw? Like, I just love learning that about people. So I used to be like, I'm gonna be like a 30 for 30 person. Now 30 for 30 isn't really a thing, um but I would love to be on the sidelines for baseball or football. It's the two that I've told myself. And, now you get to incorporate those sit down interviews as well. So it's baseball and football for me.
Is there? I remember when I was talking with one of my friends. He was a executive producer for Steve Harvey, and we were talking about these things, and I was talking about a show that I wanted to develop, and he said you have to have comparisons, and I was like, well, my mom told me not to compare myself to anybody, and he said, yeah, but in the media, and in entertainment, you have to have a comparison where a person can see a visual and have it instantly happen. And he helped me with this. So we kind of developed it. So for myself, it was I wanted to have the heart of Oprah, the comedy of Jimmy Fallon, and the intellect of David Letterman when I did an interview with somebody, right? When I sat down with them. And so if you were to make a comparison for the Alexa show, or, as you move forward with your career, what would be the ultimate as far as comparison to, so a person could see a picture of it?
Like my Mount Rushmore, I think would be like Mia Kimes for football knowledge, because she knows the game better than anyone. Um, Sideline Laura Rutledge, I think she's super personable, great voice. Um, Sit down interviews, Laura Oakman, she just knows how to connect with people and get them to open up like no one has ever heard. So yeah, I think those are my three for sure.
What
But I
is
like that you say like you still have to take a little bit of everyone.
Yeah, that was a hard one. It was a hard one to do at first because, again, this is the way your pop was too. He was like, you know, we would talk about like we're not competing with anybody. Just go, like you go and do what you need to do. And I remember having a conversation with your pop too, where I told him I was like, man, I'm getting a little bored. And there's going to be a time in your life where this happens because you're going to master your craft. And I was getting a little bit bored, but the company was growing, and I was like, man, I really think, I had a friend and he had a pizzeria and he told me about it. And I think I'm going to open a pizzeria. And your pop, I've never seen your pop react this way. Your pop almost punched me. Like he was never, like he would have smoked me no matter what. But he was always a gentle giant. But he turned to me and with the most force, he was like, what the bleep are you talking about? Opening a pizza place? He said, you need to stick to your gift. Like this is what you do. Like, and I was close. I was thinking about opening a pizzeria, but he just stopped me. He stopped me in it. But as you go, like as you grow, is there because I know your mind's always working. Is there an
Yeah.
Alexa show that if you had all the funding in the world and you had all the go and green light from any network that you wanted, right now it'd be NBC, and you
Mhm.
said, this is my show, what would your show look like?
Mm. Also another awesome story about the pizzeria. What would my show look like? Oof. I I mean, I would love just having like athletes in and sitting down, talking ball, talking life. Um, Almost like a, I guess, podcast format. Um, just like I love, there was a question you wrote down before we got on, like, who are you? And that's actually like one of my favorite questions. It's such a like broad question, but it really like when I ask it, I'm like, it really makes people think because it's like, I don't know, who am I? Um, and I think that's like what I would want my show to be about. Like, who are you as an athlete, as a person? How did you get here? Those are all the favorite things that I love to ask.
When you sit down with all these people and I get to watch it, and I tell you, I like and comment, but it doesn't mean enough on social media when I see it, because I'm literally cheering loud. Like I'm cheering out loud when I see you, interviewing all these people and sitting down with them. And it's not because of like, oh, wow, the hot take, like, oh, wow, my friend is, she is interviewing Max Crosby or interviewing Mendoza or doing this stuff. I'm just like, no, that's Alexa. They get to meet Alexa. That's the thing. What do you wish that those people would ask you?
Oof. I mean, I think we just have so much in common, like more than they know. Um, like we're under a spotlight. We want to be the best. Um, and the biggest thing for me, like after that interception, like I make a mistake on air, I have to get myself together and continue throughout the show. Like I can't let it be a domino effect. I make a mistake and then the whole show goes to crap. Um, so I think just like if they were to ever ask, like, and remember that we're also normal people, like, how do you handle that? Like, I would love to answer something like that because I think we do have so many similarities.
When you're in the, when they're doing the press conference afterwards, I've always been fascinated by this. So they're doing the press conference and there's all the yelling, right? There's all the yelling from the media, and then they choose one person to ask a question.
hmm
How do you get chosen?
It is a dogfight. It's pure chaos, to be honest. So basically, if you're at Raiders practice, it's extra chaotic because we're in a room, there's no microphone. So you're just like, ah, ah, ah. And sometimes you just have to cut people off and finish your sentence. And if the player looks at you, then they answer your question. Um, and that's kind of where like I struggle because I always want to be nice. And I'm like, all right, I gotta just ask the question. I'm sorry if I cut you off. Like, it is what it is. So yeah, it gets very competitive in that room, and I think the players are like, "Whoa, who do I look at? Who am I answering?"
How much does the relationship play into that point? Because I think people don't like this part of it, and we didn't like it as a kid in sports. We used to like think, oh, it's going to be the kid who performs the best, but a lot of times, as much as we don't like to hear this, the kid who is a good learner that the coach actually has a great relationship with, a lot of times gets the opportunity that the other kid doesn't get because the other kid was being a dick. You know what I mean?
Right.
So how much of you getting chosen has to do with the relationship?
I mean, I think a lot. I'm never gonna ask the gotcha questions, but and hey, I understand there's questions that need to be asked or how you need to ask them. That's just not my lane. Um, so I think it works to an advantage for me. Um, and I'm never going to like try to put someone in a bad light intentionally. And I think I prove that in my questions that I ask and I put thought into my questions. Um, so I think, after a bad game, maybe a player will look at me before someone who's going to be like, really bad game. Like, how did that feel? And you're like, not good. Didn't feel good.
And on this, when you were talking about the sideline part, that's for me one of the toughest, because the person is coming off the field, right, or the court, or the ice.
hmm
You can almost see it in them a lot where they have the exact same answers, even no matter what the question is. How do you differentiate and separate your questions from the same questions that always happen on the sideline when the person is going?
So I used to have this notes that it was called good questions. And I would always tweak it depending, on the situation. And I would always add to it. But now I think it's became more just genuine questions. So like genuinely, like what am I like if I was a viewer right now, what do I really wanted to know from that game? and like, what do I want to know what was going on in your mind in that moment? Um, so I try to just like customize it to that moment. Customize it. That's a good one.
So how do you stay, like, obviously you're in Vegas, you grew up in Vegas, you're a fan of Vegas itself as far as the city because obviously you have roots there, third generation, the whole nine. Now the Raiders are there, you're covering them. Emotionally, there's a tie to it, but in the media, you kind of almost have to lay that to the side a little bit and report. Is that tough for you? Or when you go to, say, like a Nashville, I know that most likely you became a phenomenally, passionate Titans fan, that Titans are the number one of all time and the greatest organization that has ever lived. And, we could talk about the Titans forever.
Cam Ward, love him.
Yes.
Yeah.
But do you battle with that part of it when you're reporting too? Because you're having to report on other teams that are coming into town, or you're kind of almost having to be realistic. I don't have to be realistic. I'm irrational. I think the Titans are going 17-0 this year. They're already undefeated in the preseason. We should have a preseason playoff and a preseason Super Bowl because we deserve it.
Yep.
That's what I
I
believe.
agree. I agree. I agree. I see it in your future for sure. Just like the Cowboys.
Could you
Uh,
imagine if the Titans and the Cowboys were in the Super Bowl?
oh my, we would have to go. We would have to get
Okay,
tickets together.
if they do go, you and I are
We're
going.
going.
We're
We're
going.
going
Okay, we're there.
for sure.
I'm wearing a Belcastro jersey. I
Oh, I
I
actually
will.
I have one that says Big Papa.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
the
I have
first
one.
time in my life I've ever been called Big Papa was by your pop. That
That's
was the
awesome.
great. That was the greatest when he said, and when I was walking in, and he said, "Hey, Big Papa," in his accent, and I was like, "Man, where are you from?" He's like, "Vegas." I was like, "Where the hell did you get that accent
You're
from?"
like, you're not from the Bronx, or okay.
But how do you manage that? Like, how do you manage the fandom, right?
Yeah, I think if anything, I struggle with like the relationship aspect. So like if a player made a bad play, and I need to talk about it, I have to talk about that wasn't his best game. But then I also had a great conversation with them in the locker room yesterday. It's like, ah, here we go. So I think that's the biggest struggle I have. I wouldn't say because I didn't grow up with these teams, I think it makes it a little easier as far as like the fandom because my dad hated the Raiders. We hated the Raiders. Just like they hate the Cowboys. Like, so I think, and the Knights, we got them after I left for college. So I didn't even get to really experience that, but 3 Stanley Cup appearances in 5 years, like insane.
Yeah.
Um, I think the first time I felt that maybe was watching the Knights in the Stanley Cup. Like I really wanted them to win. Like I was like, oh, I want this for them so bad. But I'm like, all right, reporter hat. Like we gotta go tell this game and not seem like I'm just holding up my Knights poster the whole time.
What do you feel that the Raiders' record realistically will be this year?
I think 5 wins. The beginning of their schedule is brutal. They have the Bills in the beginning.
Mm,
They have Denver and they have the Chiefs. The easiest game they're going to have is week 1 against Miami. And then
okay.
from there it's like it's a dogfight.
Mm.
They have the Saints, which maybe I could see that in game 2. Um, but yeah, the NFL does not favor the Raiders when it comes to scheduling. That's for sure.
You would think, I mean, because they didn't have that great of a season last year, um, but you would think that they would get a pretty easy schedule because of they didn't do as well. But um, you mentioned, which I can't overlook, you mentioned Cam Ward. What is your take on Cam Ward?
I feel like Cam Ward is the same as Ashton Genty last year, where they both have so much talent, but it's just the guys around them that they need to develop. And unfortunately for Cam Ward right now, the guys around him at the line especially are not helping him. But I think as the Titans begin their rebuild, like you're gonna see so much success from Cam Ward, and he's such a guy you want to root for too. He really is.
Who do you see as far as coming out of college? Like, do you see that, there's a lot of talk about Arch Manning. I'm a big Julian Sand fan because Julian is from Carlsbad, and my daughter went to high school with him. In her freshman year, he was the quarterback for Carlsbad High. And, so I pull for him. I think that had they won their matchup and ended up in the national championship, I think the national championship would have been a better game. It would have been like styles make fights, right? So
Yeah.
I think that, probably the Hoosiers still win, but the Hoosiers against Ohio State, I think would have been a better game than Miami against, it was Miami against Ohio State, right? Or not, Miami against Indiana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Miami.
What do you think as far as Heisman this year?
Mm, I really am rooting for Arch Manning. I think because he's so young and all eyes are on him because of his last name, and it, I just don't know how he does it. Like his freshman year when it was not a good season for him, it was. I mean, heck, we were hearing about that more than the NFL. Like it was talk about clickbait. Like I feel like it was just all over the place. So to be young and having to like navigate through that, and now for him to finally be at the progression that everyone should have just held on tight for, I hope he has a great year.
Here's another clickbait for you. Is when you talk about the families, right, and having a name that you have to live up to. Arch Manning obviously has, Eli and Peyton to live up to. But in my eyes, you had two absolute legends in Las Vegas to live up to, in Jen Belcastro and Rick Belcastro. And for me, like, you're eclipsing, as your parents to me are absolute legend. Like I wouldn't, my kids wouldn't be living the life that they live without your family. Without the Belcastros, my kids wouldn't see the things that they have seen. Seriously. But I just want to compliment you because you didn't take that as like, oh wow, I'm just, I can ride off that. You're taking it to a completely different level. So in my eyes, this is the hot take, is Alexa Belcastro is showing Arch Manning how to do it. That's the hot take right there. That's the
Ooh,
click.
I love those are the hot takes I like to hear. I really appreciate that. I love that.
Well, Alexa, I started the podcast because of my two kids, Maddox and McKenna. And McKenna is in the arts, so but she's found that she likes the business of the arts. So show choir, theater, all those things. But she likes the business of it. My son loves sports, but he also loves photography. He loves broadcasting, which is awesome. So
Yes.
Auntie Alexa, you need to help a brother out.
I got him covered.
So that's his side. So right now he's in digital photography. So he's taking pictures down on the field at Carlsbad High and stuff like that. So I started the podcast because of those two, and I didn't want them to worship idols. I just wanted them to be inspired by iconic people like yourself. So what advice would you have for Maddox and McKenna? And if you could call yourself Auntie Alexa, it would be awesome.
Oh, well, Auntie Alexa, first off, I wear that very heavy. I don't know if you remember, but I babysat them a few times.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, which I thought they were the coolest kids ever. They are the coolest kids ever. But what would I say? I would just say you don't have to have it figured out exactly what you want to do, but whatever it is, just go at it full force. So if it's you want to be a broadcaster, well, how are you becoming the best you can be right now? Is that you taking a camera to the high school football game and getting those photos? For McKenna, is it getting reps in whatever her creative talents are, and just keep doing it, and reps is everything. So that would be my advice.
Well, you are awesome. I've been looking at this, and your mom keeps commenting too on here. So your mom's been watching. Jeff Crane asked. He said, "Please ask what advice can you give the youth or the next generation to give them wisdom and help?"
Um, I would say so. It's like the industry has changed a little bit, but I believe in this path still. I think out of college, going to a smaller market and getting your reps, because I was in Whitefish, Montana, and no one in Whitefish, Montana cared about me flubbing over my words or, trying to figure it out. So it was, I mean, they probably did care, but it was on a smaller scale. Um, and so just getting those reps in a smaller place and then building up from there. I think the problem now is like sometimes you're out of college and you're getting thrown into a big thing, and then you're so hard on yourself because you're making mistakes that you should be making. Um, where you can go and make those mistakes on a smaller scale and then build up from there. Um, and don't listen to people that say you dream too big, because that's just not true.
Now, what message do you have to your mom? Your dad is listening because your dad is here with us, and he's always with us, and he's always in my heart. And it's not like some kind of, for me, it's not like some like, oh, he's in my heart. No, he's Big Papa. What are you thinking? Like when I'm going to do something that's silly, like he's in my head all the time. But he's here with us. What do you have to say to your mom and your pops?
I think just like thank you for showing me that dreaming big is not crazy. That I can be independent and strive for big things all on my own. Because you guys showed me that, and I never look at dreaming too big as being impossible. So I think it's the best you could get.
The Belcastro effect. It is, I mean, you have to tell that boy if he's ever going to try and take it to the next level, he's taking the Belcastro name. That's what he's doing. So he's changed.
Don't get my mom started. She already has said it. Don't you worry.
He's going to have to hyphenate his name. But
she told him.
Oh my gosh. Well, I want to tell you, Alexa, that the Belcastro effect on myself and my whole entire family, it really, what you talked about today, and taking the limits off, dreaming big, going after those things, allowing yourself to strive. And, you said something quickly where you said, I don't take enough time to be able to rest or whatever it is. I want you to know that that's all right. Like, it's okay. And I just want to give you permission because we're all cheering and you are inspiring all of us. Like, you're inspiring me. And again, the Belcastro effect continues to like multiply in my life and in my kids' life and in my friends' life. And every person that's been in my sphere has been impacted by your family. And maybe they haven't known exactly what that was, but my brother now owns his own law firm and is one of the top personal injury attorneys in all of Las Vegas, and he owns the firm. And that comes from a foundation of your mom saying, I need you to go to this restaurant. I need you to order whatever the hell you want, and you are not going to take care of the bill because I'm taking care of the bill. And I want you to see what life can be and the way that other people see reality. And so my hat's off to you. But here's what I'm going to ask, because I know you got to go, is I need you back on the show. I want you on. And because it's going to be so great through the NFL season. And I know you're going to be busy, but I'll take any time whenever you have time. So I want to discuss the NFL. I want to talk football. I want to talk those things because you're experiencing it.
Okay. Let's do it. And I just thank you for having me on your awesome show. I think you're such an inspiration to like pivot. Like, you go to show, it's never too late to pivot in your life. Like, you reach so much success and you were like, pivot. doing what makes me happy. And like, that is really cool. And I think more people should do that.
Thank you. Thank you. Stick around with me for 1 second. I'm going to run a commercial. I know you got to go, but just stick around with me for 1 second. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Alexa, you're a better than advertised, and Mina Kimes, you better watch out. That's what I'm saying. So have a wonderful day, Alexa. You're officially off the hot seat. Peace, love, and soul.
Yeah. And this the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turn small grooves into launch.